this week's news, Christians take up arms in the Middle East. Seeking support for an Aussie legend. And the last lullaby, a young father's heartbreak.
This is In Focus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Those stories coming up in just a moment. Hello, thanks so much for joining us. We've got a cracker of a program lined up for you today. How do you like your sprouts, Danielle?
I love my sprouts, Kent. All sorts too.
Well, really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I kind of thought that, alfalfa sprouts were it, but it turns out that you can sprout all kinds of grains and nuts and that they're incredibly good for you.
They are. Nice in a salad. Really good.
Okay. And James Standish is in to give us some perspective on religious freedom issues in Malaysia, which is a place close to his heart. And we'll be meeting Edgar Lopez, who says he's on track to shooting 300 television episodes in 1 month, Danielle. 300
in 1 month?
That's right.
Wow, we can only knock out 52 in a year.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's going to be a challenge. You ready for the news?
Absolutely, Kent. The United Nations Committee Against Torture has taken the Australian government to task, wanting to know why it hasn't pushed for the Vatican to hand over all documents on clerical child abuse in Australia. According to The Guardian, Cardinal George Pell has previously said the Vatican has released documents in regards to specific cases in order to assist Australia's Royal Commission into child abuse. But he said it would be unreasonable to hand over all the documents dealing with the issue. The United Nations Committee Against Torture has questioned whether the Australian government has so far been willfully inactive in seeking for more cooperation from the Vatican. As violent conflicts in Iraq and Syria drag on, traditionally peaceful Christian communities are taking up arms to protect their interests. In Lebanon, a number of Christian villages close to the Syrian border are now defended by militias who say they've successfully resisted attempts by ISIS to cross into their territory. According to the Daily Beast, at least one of the Christian militias has partnered with Shia group Hezbollah, which is identified by many Western governments as a terrorist organisation. And in Iraq, Kurdish forces have successfully pushed ISIS back from a Christian village. Now that the fighting is over, civilians are able to return and, according to CBS, will live under the protection of the newly established village militia. Police, fire and ambulance services rushed to the scene. The Red Cross and Salvation Army were there too, but there was no actual emergency to attend. The excitement was all part of a disaster simulation exercise organised in 3 small communities north of Auckland, New Zealand. A number of local community members agreed to participate as so-called victims of an imaginary tsunami that had swept through the region.
Getting people together, understanding there's a common cause, and kind of all testing and practicing the procedures that we've got in place. It was a good learning experience, but it's also a lot of fun because it is about humanity and helping each other, so you can't help but have fun in that context.
The disaster simulation was coordinated by the Adventist Development and Relief Agency's South Pacific office and brought together ADRA workers from New Zealand, Australia and a number of Pacific Island nations. About 50 million people around the world are affected by epilepsy. More than 80% of them live in the developing world, but according to the World Health Organization, one of the most common causes is easily preventable. The larvae from untreated tapeworm infections can attack the central nervous system and lead to seizures. And the source of the tapeworm is too often undercooked pork. The World Health Organization is keen to spread the message that pork regularly contains tapeworm eggs and should be cooked thoroughly if it is to be eaten at all. A number of religious groups, including Jews, Muslims and Seventh-day Adventists, avoid eating pork in keeping with biblical definitions of unclean meat. After continued controversies, the Mars Hill Church Network, based in Seattle, USA, will be disbanded by the end of the year. Negative press focusing on founding pastor Mark Driscoll's sometimes domineering leadership style and questions over the ethics of how his books were promoted saw a drop in financial support. According to Christianity Today, Driscoll resigned last month, apologising for the deficits in his leadership. The 13 remaining congregations have the option of merging with other churches, closing down or going it alone. Founded in 1996, the Mars Hill Network was a leading light in the emerging church movement and last year was attracting more than 12,000 people to its weekly services. And in Australia, funding is being sought for a film on the life of another Christian groundbreaker, the Reverend Dr. John Smith.
Jesus did not say, "Come all ye sinners into the church to hear the gospel." He said, "Go my disciples into all the world and preach the gospel." We are taking that really seriously.
John Smith, a self-described hairy radical, made his mark in Australia as an evangelist to the poor and outcast, and as founder of the God's Squad Christian Motorcycle Club. He's currently fighting cancer and has had 10 rounds of chemotherapy this year, but he's continued his campaigning and evangelistic work.
Woe to legislators that legislate unjust laws, and any decent person in or out of Christianity ought to resist them.
After months of negotiations, Papua New Guinea is set to launch its first Christian TV station, featuring local faces and voices. Through the new digital Click network, once-off subscribers will have ongoing access to Hope Channel and 2 other channels via an encrypted set-top box. Hope Channel is the official television network of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Coverage to the Port Moresby region commenced last week, with the rest of the country and large parts of the South Pacific region to be included over coming months. And later in the program, we'll chat with Edgard Lopez, who's preparing to shoot 300 program episodes in PNG early next year. Support has flooded in from around the world for a young Californian father who tragically lost his wife and premature son within 4 days of each other. Christian musician and Castles in Air frontman Chris Pico's first child had to be delivered by emergency C-section 16 weeks early after his wife Ashley died suddenly in her sleep. According to Adventist Review, Chris spent hours by his premature son's incubator while medical staff worried about the baby's lack of progress. Remembering how baby Lennon had responded to music while in the womb, Chris began to play the guitar and sing.
Into the light of the dark night.
The video touched the hearts of around 13 million viewers, and an online memorial fund set up by Chris and Ashley's Adventist Church in Loma Linda tripled its target amount. Sadly, baby Lennon passed away a few hours after the video was recorded. Please keep the Pico family in your prayers. Well, that's the news for this week. Kent, a very sad story.
It is. It's incredible. I try to put myself in that position, and honestly, I just can't imagine. But you know, though, Danielle, this story actually touches us a little bit because Chris Pico and his band, Castles in Air, actually recorded their album right here at Adventist Media in our studios here.
Yeah, that's right, Kent. I was actually privileged to go to one of their concerts at Avondale College, so I'm very saddened by that news.
Yeah. Hey, stay with us. I'll be back in just a sec with James Standish and Freedom in Focus.
Every week, It Is Written is available to millions of free-to-air viewers throughout Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea and the Pacific. It Is Written's Gary Kent regularly takes viewers to the far corners of the globe to report on new evidence and discoveries that confirm the Bible and Christian beliefs. It Is Written also provides medical care to remote Pacific Island communities. Join Gary Kent each week for It Is Written. See television guides and the It Is Written website for broadcast times. It Is Written with Gary Kent. It really is television that changes lives.
Hi, welcome back. And speaking of welcome back, James Standish is with us again this week. Hey, James.
I'm doing well. I'm back from a holiday, rested, a little bit more hairy, and back in the role. So
why not? Now, James, understand you actually spent some time growing up in Malaysia as a missionary kid. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, first memories of my life are in Malaysia, and we moved there from Australia when I was 2 years old. So, as you can imagine, I didn't remember a lot before that. Yeah. And really great memories. It's a fabulous place. I love Malaysia. I took my family there recently and just love it.
When it comes to the Christian media attention on Malaysia over the last several years, really, the thing that keeps coming up again and again is asking the question whether Christians in Malaysia should have the right to use the word Allah to describe God, and it's been very contentious, hasn't it?
It has been contentious, and unfortunately it's been used deliberately as a wedge issue. What you have to understand is that Malaysia has about 10% of its population is Christian. It also has a complicated ethnic composition between Malays and various different ethnic groups that are indigenous to the area.
A lot of Chinese descended
Chinese,
people?
Indians, and so forth.
Okay.
And one of the things that was being used, the question of using Allah by Christians has really been used as a wedge issue. That's what we'd use, an issue to pit people against each other and get people very excited. And there's an organization that's run by an individual by the name of Ibrahim Ali. I would describe it as somewhat xenophobic. It's there to promote the interests of Malays against those who are against them. Well, who's against them? I mean, honestly, it's one of those things, but it's a great way to get power. It's an influential organization, and they've been driving these issues. Recently, their leader, Ibrahim Ali, called on Bibles with the word Allah in them to be burned, for example.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, this is really the kind of stuff that tears at the fabric of a complicated society, and he's done a very good job of doing that. This has gone through
courts, hasn't it?
That's exactly right.
Courts.
And the question is, you know, does this violate the Malaysian speech codes or not? Turns out it's been ruled that it doesn't. Well, because he was actually acting to defend Islam, not to disparage Christianity. Interestingly, another Ibrahim, Anwar Ibrahim, who is an opposition. Yes, well, keep an eye on that guy. He is a very impressive individual. He's just recently gone back to Malaysia. Or he's in the process, and he'll be faced with more court actions against him as an opposition leader. But interestingly, he has been very strong coming out and saying this kind of stuff, whether it's these religious and ethno-religious wedge issues, are not the future for Malaysia. Malaysia is a country that is a great country. It has a great future, but only if people can live together in harmony, not coming up with wedge issues to try to pull the fabric apart. Interestingly, increasingly, a number of Malaysian young people have gone over to fight with ISIS too. So it's a very dangerous mixture that they're messing with. And I can only hope that Anwar Ibrahim's vision for the country comes to full realization, and that Ibrahim Ali's vision for the country fails.
The tale of two Ibrahims. Thanks for that, James.
Thank you.
Yes, it was in World War II that the famous sprout was recommended for the people of the United States and Britain, Sue, and when they were running out of food.
That's right.
Why? What's
to
special
top
about
up
the
their
sprout?
protein
Protein from sprouts.
Little
Greens.
sprouts can give you extra protein.
Oh, so tell us about sprouts. What's so special? I'm going to munch some of these while you kick us off.
Sprouts are basically germinated seeds or nuts or whole grains or legumes. You can sprout most things, and the exciting thing about sprouts is that when you sprout one of these dormant seeds, you significantly boost the nutrient content.
So I've just had a nutrient boost.
You have. So, for example, you will significantly boost the levels of vitamins, such as vitamin C and E and folate. You will significantly increase the levels of minerals like iron and zinc. You will make the protein more available, the amino acids, hence the reference back to World War II. And even the carbohydrates in those foods become more tolerable. So if people have problems tolerating legumes because of the flatulence factor, eat them as sprouts.
What I found fascinating was the enzymes. It makes the enzyme more available to the body?
Yes, it makes the enzymes from the sprouts which have been dormant more available, and also simply through the sprouting process you reduce various levels of what are called enzyme inhibitors, which is what enables the amino acids from the protein to be more readily available. In fact, by up to about 25% more. Can
you show us some of these? You said that nuts can be sprouted. I had no idea.
Sesame seeds,
almonds.
They're so
small.
Yeah, most people think of alfalfa when they think sprouts. sprouts, but there is so much more out there at the moment in terms of sprouts. And I think this has been driven by the interest in raw foods and the raw food movement. And it's a good thing because it means we can enjoy more textures, more flavours of different types of sprouts.
So what have we got?
So common ones you might see in your greengrocer in your supermarket would be these, and often these are called bean shoots.
Yes.
These are just sprouted mung beans, the little green mung beans.
Okay.
And these can be used in soups, in stir fries, or you can get what are called soybean sprouts, and they
Soybean sprouts?
Yeah, they look similar to these, but see the little head? It's a little bit bigger. So this is used traditionally, say, in Okinawa. They make a beautiful stir-fry with green papaya and soybean sprouts in a sweet and sour sauce. So they use them in stir-fries. You can use them in salads. You can use them in many different ways. Now, what we've got here, James, is an assortment of different kinds of sprouts to give you some idea, and I'll just point out a few. So we've got sprouted rye there. You can sprout rye, you can sprout wheat. We've got sprouted quinoa. You can even sprout the what are called pseudo grains, quinoa, amaranth. We've got sprouted legumes such as chickpeas, lentils, soybeans. We've even got sprouted buckwheat. So there's no end to sprouts, but probably one of my favourite sprouts would have to be the broccoli sprout, and that's that little tub there.
Yes, okay.
Why? Because apart from boosting the content of vitamins and minerals, what we now know that sprouting does is to significantly boost the content of antioxidants and phytonutrients. And some time ago we talked about the benefit of those cruciferous vegetables. You remember the broccoli, the cauliflower, which we know are good for cancer? Well, would you believe the broccoli sprouts, as compared to the mature broccoli, have between 50 and 100 times more of sulforaphane, which is the phytonutrient that fights cancer.
I know we're not talking about this today, you said, but we have a centrepiece here. It's the...
We do, because, you know, you can use sprouts in salads and in sandwiches and so on, but you can also use them in cooked foods and prepared in different ways.
And this is sprouted?
This is sprouted bread. Have you ever seen sprouted bread before?
No, I can't wait for the next section. Go to SueRad.com and just find out the amazing things she discovers. It's just incredible to me. So we're doing a special show.
We are. Sprouted grain breads are made from different types of sprouted grains, which are then sort of mashed and put together to make more of a solid block, you might say, a chewy type of bread. And it's the way bread used to be made before there was flour. So you can buy products with using the sprouts, or you can even buy. Yesterday I was at the markets buying these sprouts from the sprout lady, and James, I brought you back a little taste tester, and she made a dal, and the dal is made from the sprouts. So have a taste of that and I'll tell you how she made it. So she used some ginger and kaffir lime, and she also put in a little bit of chilli and the usual ground seasonings like coriander and cumin. And she made it out of the sprouts rather than out of the dried legumes. It's beautiful.
Got a little bit of a spicy kick.
So there's lots you can do. Also in my breakfast book, James, lots of yummy recipes for sprouts, for breakfast foods, but one of them that I love is the cashew date and sprouted wheat spread. So you can make things at home, and you can also either buy your sprouts at markets, supermarkets, or just do them at home. Get a sprouting kit from the internet and enjoy them that way.
Well, it's just wonderful and marvellous. And folks, if you'd like to enjoy more sprouts and work out how to use them, be watching next time as Sue explains about sprouted breads. But between now and then, go to SueRad.com and you'll just find out so much. It's just incredible, Sue. This is amazing.
It is really beautiful.
No matter what shade of musical taste you have, you might just find something that sings to you. It's all waiting to be discovered at saltermusic.com. Fresh and exciting original Christian music from Salter Music.
Well, you might think that making half an hour of television every week is a snack, something you sort of do during morning tea, but let me tell you, it takes pretty much the whole week for a handful of people. But if you thought that was impressive, wait till you meet Edgar Lopez. Ed, you're looking at making 300 television episodes in a 1 month period, is that right?
That's right.
So in the same period that I'll be producing, 4 television episodes. You'll be producing 300. How are you going to do that?
Well, we have a project management in place to create all these 300 programs. One of the things that we would like to do is we would like to build a team, and as we got right now a team for one of our programs around the islands. We are trying to encourage people to help us with so many bits and pieces that we need to put together. As you can imagine, 300 programs in 1 month, it's a huge project.
But you've even made it more complicated for yourself, because not only do you want to make 300 quality Christian television episodes, you also want to do it in Papua New Guinea. Is that right?
That's right. And a lot of people have said to me, Ed, why Papua New Guinea? You know, most of people there are illiterate, you know, they can't read or write. In fact, almost 60% of people can read and write. But you know what? God has a purpose for all of us, and we are working together at the moment with a fantastic team in Port Moresby, who are actually working furiously, creating 300 television programs in different areas. Areas such as health, children programs, programs to do with evangelism, programs to do with prophetic programs.
And Bible prophecy.
Bible prophecy, yes. And I tell you, I'm surprised of the talent that it's found in PNG. Project Hope, it's one of the biggest projects that we've ever encountered in the history. And to work on those 300 programs, I had to go twice, 2 weeks in a row pretty much. I've been working with people, you know, on the grounds, working with presenters, hosts, also working with script writers, creating different scripts, you know. I mean, you got to understand that people, you know, some of the people are not well educated. So words and writing, it's very hard for some of them. And the good thing is, these people are willing. You know, they have the heart, the passion for it.
Now, I understand, Ed, that in Papua New Guinea, the broadcaster that you're working with, which is Hope Channel, has an opportunity to actually bring that channel to free-to-air television in Papua New Guinea. So not via a satellite, not via some cable arrangement, but free-to-air. What do you see, what does that mean, do you think, for the country?
The idea is for this television to go free-to-air, so every single person within the country of Papua New Guinea would be able to have access to television, to Christian television, and to some of the great programs, you know, that teach different things, you know, from health, how to look after a baby, to, you know, how to eat properly, how to manage your funds properly. You know, in some of these countries, people don't know any of these, and through television, we believe that that's going to make a huge impact.
Tell me about the power of local content.
Look, the power of local content, what people have told us before is that we really want to have local content. We want to be able to see people from our own nationality. We want to be able to see our own problems, you know, different issues. For example, I'll give you a typical issue in PNG. There is something called betel nut.
Yes.
And everyone chews this betel nut. It's like a fruit that everyone chews on them.
It's a sort of a mild narcotic, and people mix it with lime.
Yeah.
And they spit it out, and it's red, and it causes mouth cancers. It's actually quite a terrible habit, isn't it?
And it is addictive, you know, because everyone in PNG chews it. And the thing is with that, for example, we've got script writers working at the moment on health, especially in that topic, you know, to help the next generations of people from PNG to help overcome these problems. And by having television and by having been able to have not just television but also put it on radio and web, we're going to be able to, you know, to broadcast all this information to every single person.
Okay, so come January, you're in Port Moresby. You've got these local presenters and, you know, local topics and content sorted out, because, as you say, that's important. But in terms of some of the crew, like, you know, camera operators, producers, directors, people behind the camera, have you got that set out as well, or is that something that you're still needing some help with?
Look, we've got a crew of about 22 international people. Within that crew, we have directors, producers. We've got also editors and graphic designers. But one of the things that we need the most is local people. We need local people within PNG. And also, if I may add, first of all, we will have in January to February, we will have Mega Project Hope in PNG. But then 2 months down the track, in April and May, we will have Project Hope Fiji.
Oh, just for dessert, if 300 episodes weren't enough, you want to do more in Fiji then?
An extra 150 programs.
Wow.
So in a matter of less than 6 months, we're looking at about 450 programs of Christian content.
That's huge. And you're looking for volunteers to help out with that.
Definitely.
Now, Hope Channel is owned by the Adventist Church. Are you looking for Adventists in particular to help you out?
Look, we want to be able to open up our arms, and be able to ask those professionals from whatever denomination that might be, to come and experience a fantastic opportunity to create some of the best Christian programs.
Well, if you're interested in helping Edgard out with his project Hopes happening in the Pacific Islands early next year, the details are right there on your screen. Your email address, Ed?
Yes, my email address will be on the screen, and also the website that they can actually go into and have a look as well.
There you go, check it out. Hey, thanks so much for your time, Ed. I really appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to what's produced out of these.
Look, I'm really looking forward to this, and if I could just make an appeal directly to our viewers, we will need at least 200 people or crew from PNG, and also we are looking at a crew for Fiji. We're looking at about 100 people, producers, directors, assistants, light, camera people, editors, graphic artists. And this is an appeal for the local people in Fiji, and also an appeal to the local people in Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Well, hey, thanks so much for coming in, Ed. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back straight after the break.
Planning your future can be a daunting task. What you want to do, who you want to be, and the road ahead can often be unpredictable. No one really knows what the future holds. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Hello, welcome back. Well, you never know what you're going to get on InFocus, do you, Kent?
No, you're right. What was it this week?
What was it this week? It was Malaysia Christian Television in PNG and bean sprouts. Quite a combination.
Yeah, and our salads will never be the same again.
Very true.
We do like to mix it up a bit.
Oh, mix it up, salad. Okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I just thought I'd toss that in.
That's right. But for you guys, don't forget that if you'd like to grab a copy of Sue's Bean Sprout segment for yourself, or of course any other part of the Record InFocus program, it's quite easy to track down the video back to our Vimeo archive, where you can hit the download button and it's all yours.
Yep, and the journey starts as always at our website, record.net.au. Thanks for your company this week. We'll see you next time on Record InFocus.
God bless.